Been all right. I didn't do much today. Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Your mind's down there. What's the purpose of them?
Yeah, what did he say? I think he said he's on his way.
Should do that. That's a lot of credit. What grade for living? But like he's on with like, I don't know.
You can just put it.
Thank you. Actually, might be better for me this as well. Yeah, bro, did you get the envelope? Yeah.
Yeah, you just.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, was that?
No.
What is that? Oh, this is what did it? Yeah, it's leaking.
No, the burrito is leaking. This is true.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. Before we get started, feel free to grab some food and scan in. This will be for our attendance for this week. And thank you all for coming. Okay. I guess we can get started now. So I'm Andy. In case you guys don't know, we're part of the UMN Blockchain Club. We have Raj, Dagan, and Paris. Dagan's the president, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to him. He knows a lot, so he can definitely answer anything you guys are interested in. So for today's agenda, we're just going to be going over market making and also some like Solana finance. And then lastly, we'll go over some crypto market making, which we'll cover in the next slide. So what market making is, or we're going to go over the what, how, and why of market making. If you don't know what it is, it's totally okay. This is a very like beginner-friendly explanation of what it is. So the basics of it is, let's say you want to buy a pen. This pen costs $10, and usually when you want to purchase something, there's always a buyer and a seller. So the seller is willing to sell it for $10, and the buyers are willing to buy it for $10. And then the transaction happens. But let's say sometimes the buyer and the seller don't agree on the price. The seller wants $11 and the buyer wants to buy it for $10. When this happens, you have usually need someone, a third party, to come in and be willing to buy that pen for $11 or sell that pen for $10. And so, for example, if let's say Dagan is selling the pen for $11, Raj is buying it for 10. I come in, I swoop in, and I say, you know what? I really need this pen. I'm going to pay whatever price for it. And so I buy it at $11. And so that's like the general gist of, I guess, a term called an order book. And it plays a role in market making. Yeah, order book. So to leave it like on a global scale of what just happened, like of the example that I just gave, this is how like basically stocks trade. Say someone wants to sell it for 29K, and then someone else wants to buy it for like a cent cheaper. And then there's people like me that just come in and say, you know what, I'll buy it at whatever price, I'll sell it at whatever price, and I fulfill that order. And so when you have a bunch of orders coming together, you do need a third party to be able to like facilitate these transactions. Let's say Ferris comes in and he's the company and he needs to make sure these two pens are getting across. And so he basically has that pen from Dagan and sells it to Raj. And now we can go into the what of market making. We can first talk about Citadel, which is a financial firm. These Citadel is the firm that does all these like pricing and like buying and selling. They basically route these buy and sell orders so these transactions can fulfill. And what Citadel does is that they're able to, let's say, have more people like me that are willing to pay for whatever price, and then they take a little like profit off that difference. Because I'm willing to buy at such a high price, they can take a profit from that. And so Citadel does this for like millions and millions of transactions every second, every hour, and they make hundreds of millions from this. And that's actually what, oh yeah, the real life example would be like someone's trying to buy a stock for $269 and point zero 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 one, and someone's willing to sell it at 0.008. Citadel would get these two orders together and then they would profit off that difference of 0.007. And yeah, that's how Citadel makes like so much money. And I guess that's just one part of their revenue. Um, so now we'll go into the why of market making, why it's important. Um, Before like market making and all that, stocks used to be like you couldn't really trade the stock for free. But ever since like Robinhood partnered with Citadel, they're able to have like these free transactions or free stock trades. And so that goes into, Robinhood's revenue. And um, yeah, that's how they offer free stock trading for people like you and I. And then this is basically how the traditional finance, TradFi, what we call it, operates when it comes to stocks on a very high level. And so this brings us into Solana, which is a blockchain in crypto. If you don't know what Solana is, it's essentially just a blockchain. And I'll go into it later. So why Solana is pretty popular is because during the 2024 crypto bull run, you can see the crypto of Bitcoin skyrocketing around this time. And so when it did skyrocket, a bunch of meme coins were created, and that's where we got the meme coin craze. So like, shit coins like dog with hat, ticker symbol with had a $4 billion market cap, which is pretty insane. It is very insane because that's a tenth of Target, and Target has been around since 1996, whereas this picture of a dog with a hat was around for like 3 months. Um, and so yeah, these type of tokens got really popular during the 2024 Bitcoin bull run. You have tokens like PayPay, who had 2.5 billion market cap, and a bunch more cryptocurrencies that made a lot of profit. A lot of people got rich, a lot of people did lose money. So there's a good and a bad to it. So when it comes to Solana, a lot of people launched their cryptocurrency on Solana because it is a layer one blockchain. In case you guys don't know what a layer one blockchain is, it essentially allows, it's like the infrastructure where people can then build on top of it. So you can think of it as like, Apple with their app store, people can launch apps. So like Instagram, Facebook, whatever. These cryptocurrencies are somewhat like these apps. And so Solana is the layer one blockchain, and it's like Ethereum and Bitcoin, which are also all layer one blockchains. And feel free to ask any questions, by the way, throughout this presentation. So what's cool about Solana is that it actually processes around 65,000 transactions per second. That is insanely quick. Basically, before Solana, we've never seen anything like this. Um, it has approximately a 400 to 600 millisecond block time, which means a bunch of transactions that are being put into the blockchain are validated and are forever on the blockchain. And so just to give an estimate or a comparison, the human eye blinks 100 to 150 milliseconds. So that fast of a transaction on Solana is insane, or just pro blockchain in general. And so comparing to other blockchains, you have Ethereum, which is super popular. They average about 15 to 45 transactions per second. And so you can really see the huge comparison when it comes to that. And Bitcoin itself averages around 7 transactions per second, um, which I'm not 100% sure is correct, actually. But yeah. And then, so what makes Solana so fast is because they use this term called slots. So in a blockchain, when you do a transaction, that transaction gets put in a block. That block then gets put into a list of ongoing transactions that are already happening. And so that's how people have like the blockchain. You can see the blockchain history. You can see everything that's going on in the blockchain because each block is being added. And for Solana, it's about 400 to 600 milliseconds for every block. And so the history of Solana, which I know people usually like listening to history. So Solana was created in 2017 by Anatoly, last name. And then I know he was a Qualcomm software engineer at that time. And how Solana came to be was that he was sleep deprived at 4 a.m., either chugging coffee or beer. We're not exactly sure. And he had this idea of what if we can make a cryptographically verifiable clock, which I honestly have no idea what it means, so I'm not going to go into it. But he had this idea and he reached out to two of his buddies, which I think were also at Qualcomm, and they made a rough draft of how this blockchain should work. And so they named it after the beach that they always surf at, called Solana Beach. And the main problem that they were trying to solve was just making sure blockchain is super quick and super scalable, because that was the main problem back in 2017. You had like a bunch of these blockchains that were super slow and, you know, still had a lot of money though. And so, yeah, he launched it in 2020 to mainnet for everyone to use. And the way he grew it was actually pretty cool. I know they did a bunch of hackathons where they would, fly people in and create projects on top of Solana. And that just snowballed into what it is today. Um, and yeah. Yeah, this is the Solana Beach. It's like near LA, south of LA and above San Diego. I thought that was just a cool fact in case anyone has ever been to Solana Beach or goes there one day. And so that moves us to transactions. Um, how transactions work on a blockchain. So uh, basically, when it comes to like buying and selling crypto, I talked about Citadel and market making before, like that's how they got stocks to trade. Now we need to figure out the problem of how to make it work in crypto and in blockchain, because there's no longer a central authority such as Citadel to be able to route your trades. It's all up to the people, all up to us. And that's what, blockchain is about. They wanted to make it decentralized, not one person owns the entire company or stuff like that. And so a bunch of people got together and came up with this formula, which was actually founded by the person who founded Uniswap. He worked on it during 2017, I think, and put it on Ethereum. And so this is the formula that he came up with. Essentially, it's called a constant product formula, where you're able to still facilitate like token A and token B buys and sells without the need of someone else. And so this is all automated, all through code. Um, and yeah. So just to get a little bit more understanding of how this formula works, um, let's say the price of Ethereum is $3,700, which is what it is right now. Token X would have 5 Ethereum, and in order to balance it out, you need token Y, which is $18,500. And so when you multiply the two together, you get 92,500. And you basically need to make sure that these two form, or the K stays at 92,500 this entire time. So let's say if I want to buy 1 Ethereum, I would go into this formula. I would put in my USDC, which if you guys don't know is just a dollar, the US dollar, but on crypto. And so I would put in $3,400 into this formula, and I would get my return of 1 Ethereum. And Actually, I don't get one Ethereum, because this formula is somewhat, it's not bootstrapped, but it was very beginning. It was in the beginning ages of crypto. And so people were still trying to come up with ways of like, how can we make a crypto swap work without needing a third party? And so it is kind of bootleg. So if I were to add $3,700, I would make the token Y be $3,700 more, which equates to 22,000. And because our K still needs to be 92,500, we would then divide the 92,500 by the 22,000 that we just put in, or equates to, and that gives you 4.167. And that essentially is what you subtract from the pool. So instead of 5 Ethereum, there will now be 4.167. And then that 0.83 is given to me. Even though I just paid $3,700 for one Ethereum, I only got back zero point 0.8 of it. So that formula, like it works, but it also has faults to it. And so again, people are reiterating, trying to make a formula better, trying to make it to where it's like basically you're getting one-to-one of your value and you're not losing any money. And so yeah, that was like a couple of years ago, and it is actually still heavily used today, just because it's kind of hard to change the formula, because there's a bunch of other external factors that I'm not going to get into. Um, but yeah, that's the formula. It always makes sure that, one token always has money and that it will never reach zero. So does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
So why was it that you couldn't get the full amount?
So there's a thing called slippage, and basically, if you wanted to balance this pool, you kind of need to make sure that your K is always the same. And so because I'm putting in $3,700, um, I need to then divide that 3,700 plus 18. That gets me 22. And then 92 divided by 22, that gets me 4.167. And so because I don't get the full one Ethereum, um, it's basically how like this formula works. This formula works like this, based off this graph, is because let's say I just wanted to buy all 5 Ethereum, I would drain this entire pool, right? But because of the way this formula works, I'm unable to drain the pool even if I wanted to buy 5 Ethereum, if that makes sense.
The K is, what is K? Is that the price?
K is the constant product of X and Y, of token X and Y. So there's 5 Ethereum and there's 1850, 18500 of USD. And so yeah, you always want to make sure the K is the product of the two.
Wait, why is it? Does it have to be 92,500?
It's 92,500 because you do 18,500 times 5. But it could be different if you have like more Ethereum or more USDC. Yeah.
Wait, so what did the K change? It was 4 Ethereum and then more USDC?
Well, K wouldn't change because I'm adding in the USDC to like 37. Yeah, but K would change, I think, if more people put in more money. And a reason why people would want to even like put in money into this formula is because you could actually earn interest. Every time someone, buys and sells with this formula, that little fee, instead of going to that market maker that we were talking about before, goes to whoever puts money into this pool. And that's something I would get into later as well. Is there any questions? Okay. And no worries if there's beginner questions. Like I'm honestly was just learning about this like a few hours ago. So I'm definitely not expert in this. But I did want to share this idea. So yeah, we can actually see this in real time. So in real life, I was talking about Uniswap a few slides ago. This is their platform. Uniswap is what, conducts all these pools. They have all these formulas. People put their money into it and they make interest off of it. And so if we look at this pool balance, we can see there's 24 million USD dollars, and then there's 6.5K Ethereum. And so when you multiply the two, or when you multiply 6,500 by 3,700, you get 24.2. And the reason why we got 3,700 is because one Ethereum is equal to 3,700 USDC. And so you can see that the pool do equate to each other. And then there's a lot on this page, but essentially, this is where I got the stats from. So you can see here, this is the picture from last slide. And then you can see the APR if you were to put money. It's around 7%. It is kind of volatile. And there's also a chance of losing money if you do put it in. But essentially, this is like the average APR that they give you. You can see this is the fees that they're earning. So at 1 p.m. they earn this much fees. So that's like what, 250K of like people buying and selling, a bunch of people buying and selling. That adds up to 250K. So like every day, these people are earning about $3 million, and they're all being distributed to all the people that are putting in their money into these formulas. And you can see the cool thing about crypto is that you can see all this in real time. Um, they're basically all public. So if I were to click on like this thing right here, I'm not sure, at the bottom right, you can see there's a contract that these people coded up, deployed it, and now people can view it. Whoever wants to view it can view it. And so once I click on that button, I can see that this pool indeed does actually hold this amount of money. So 24 million in Ethereum and 24 million in USDC. And yeah, it was deployed 5 years ago. This is the contract address. Anyone can look it up. Um, yeah, that's the cool part of it. Because like once something goes off, you'll know, hey, something shady is going on. I should pull my money out. And that's what you don't see in nowadays when it comes to like centralized companies such as Amazon, such as Citadel. Um, you don't know what's going on in the back end, whereas in Web3 and crypto, you do. And obviously there are shady stuff going on, but you can at least view it publicly, I guess. And so yeah, this comes to the last slide of how you can get involved if you do. You would essentially create a crypto wallet on Solana, and then you can pull your money into this platform called Jupiter. Jupiter, I think, launched like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but they've been just on track. They're like earning a whole bunch of money. The reason why they're even making this much money is because they just made it easier for people to trade crypto. Before this, trading on Solana kind of sucked, but then they rolled around, made the UI so much easier, so much cleaner. And now they've grown to this like billion-dollar company, which is kind of insane. You can see here they actually have there's $2 billion locked. So people like us, we put our money into this contract, and then we earn an APY of 11%. And again, this does fluctuate, and you actually can lose money because prices go up and down. But yeah, holding it long term, you get a 10% interest rate or 11% interest rate. And then there's also this platform called Flash.trade, which I do use. They actually have it is kind of goaded. They give you about like they average a pretty good APY. So like I just park extra money that I have into this like pool, and I'm making, at the lowest it was 10%. And like at the highest it was above 90, which is kind of insane, but that's like, they give you 90% for one day, and then the rest is like 15 or 20. Um, yeah.
Yeah, APY, that's annual, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on, yeah.
And could you show us like flash on here?
Yeah. I'm not logged into this wallet on this browser, but I could pull it up. So you essentially just go to flash.trade. Let me get rid of this. So I guess real time, you can see this is the exchange that they've made. So if you guys are familiar with like Robinhood, Vanguard, Fidelity, this essentially is what it is. You can trade, let's say Solana. You could trade Bitcoin, you can trade whatever tokens that they have on here. And then they also have an earn section. So once you go into that earn section, you can click on deposit now. Um, and then you can deposit however much money you're willing to lose, because obviously in crypto it's very risky. You can lose your money. But if you have like money that you're willing to try out new technology with and play around, then definitely put your money in here if you want to try it out. But yeah, this is the all-time APY that they give. So this is what, July 30th, they're giving around 20%. Um, and yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's not rich, basically. And one thing that they did, or it used to be, where it's like you would deposit your money into these pools, and then the people that made it just run away with your money. So that's also a risk. But nowadays, because market's being so diluted, people do want to make a good crypto company that people can use. And I think that's the major part of the slides. But yeah, there's homework if you guys are interested. Um, you can look into what dark automated market making is. It is a step up to what we were just talking about. Because like when I put in $3,700, I only get zero point 0.8 ETH back, Ethereum back, which obviously I just lost like what, 1K. And so now people are coming up with other formulas to make sure that you are able to get a one-to-one of what you're putting in. And so, yeah, if you're interested in researching more about how dark AMMs work, feel free to search that up. I think I do have a resource of someone's like Twitter post about it. That's honestly how a lot of crypto stuff now works. There's usually people just posting on Twitter like, oh, I have this idea or I have that idea, and then people come together, validate it. And yeah, there was also a Jupiter and Titan exchange drama. So basically, Titan is another like Robin Hood. They were low-key being sus with like taking Jupiter trades and like doing false advertisement. And so yeah, there was a like a 1 or 2 day Twitter drama going on for different crypto exchanges um and yeah, and then we also have a Solana validator on Discord. If you're interested in learning more about Solana, definitely hop on into our Discord, go into that channel, and we'll just answer whatever you have questions about. And yeah, these are the resources. Yeah,
Wait, could you show us like the dark and the AMM?
Dark AMM.
Yes, like that.
I can try. I actually did list it as a resource here. So these are the resources before I get into it. Thank you for listening. Obviously, uh, there's a book called Flash Boys by Michael Lewis, which kind of talks about like arbitraging and like what's it called? Super quick trades, basically, how Citadel works, how the traditional finance stuff works. Um, and it's a good book to listen to if you're interested in like quant trading and all that stuff. There's also obviously YouTube videos of like, what is Solana? How does a automated market maker work? There's communities of builders, 76 devs, and then yeah, this is our Instagram, UMBC or UMM blockchain, and our Discord is right here. Um, and yeah, thank you for listening. I'll show you the dark AMMs. This is a Twitter post though. Like,
Active exchange that you have there.
yeah, you can search up Phoenix.
It's so new.
So like if you, it's the, I'm pretty sure it's pretty new. It should be really new.
Oh, is this your previous?
No, you can take it.
Super.
Yeah.
Could you pass me a form?
So this is how like they do it.
I guess
If you put in like 20 bucks, that's not good.
Where's the first? There's no forms.
Oh, I have forms. So I guess the price of it change is kind of big. There is a big change price.
This is Phoenix.
This is Phoenix, yeah. They use like dark AMM pools.
And then what is dark AMM?
I think it's like it's a way to like you're basically arbitraging off of other people, and then you're taking that fee to pay for your fee. And so
Was you taking like what? You taking the fee of other people?
it's like whoever has the fastest transaction speed, basically.
They win. Arbitrage.
Yeah, if you can win the arbitrage, then you can win. Like you can like not sandwich, but you can like make sure your order is always first or something like that. And so that's how they're able to make the prices so cheap. But even on here, it's kind of a lot actually. I was expecting like a full-on one-to-one, but I guess not. Oh wait, that's the price of Solana. Never mind. Okay. So okay, I think it should be kind of accurate. I can't tell. But yeah, this is the order book. If you really just focus on like these two, you can see like there's people buying and selling, and there's always people.
What do you mean like the fastest? Like is this like all online? Like how can you control if your transactions the fast?
So if you run your own Solana validator, which I know costs, I think a lot of money, you can basically say prioritize this transaction rather than other ones. Or there's also another way, if you don't own a validator, if you pay a high fee, then you can basically get your order in quicker than other people. Yeah.
Wait, doesn't lots of them have its own validator?
Yeah.
So we could do that.
Isn't there also something with like fiber optics?
Yeah,
Connections,
exactly.
like trading and stuff?
Yeah. So, but this is the Jupiter. It's like back then in Ethereum, like you're paying $14, for fees. But now Solana makes it like,
How much better is the price on the Phoenix one
Yeah,
versus?
let's take on
I don't see the difference in how much you get.
I'm not sure if you can really see difference.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming.
How much you get? How much you get?
Sorry, I'm kind of butterfinger right now.
Oh.
Oh, so there's like a,
You get more on. Buy it there, sell it here.
yeah, that's actually how you do it. That's literally how
I
you do it.
don't do that. Do it right now.
I don't have money.
Huh. Oh, what are the fees? No, these are like the pennies, pence.
True.
What's the difference? Well, I assume they're using a different exchange, right? That's how you go down.
It says right there, 4 cents, and Jupiter's pennies. So.
You're literally, it's better to buy it on Jupiter, but I thought Phoenix is a better.
So what's the difference?
Jupiter has their own dark AMMs, that's all I guess.
What's the difference in price?
What? It should be the same price, but you're just getting less Solana on here, but you're getting more on here. So you would buy it on Jupiter and the sub. Wait, yeah, you would buy it on.
Right? Because you're getting less there.
Yeah, but for it to be a true arbitrage, it has to be on money you take out of loan. Can't be your own money.
Well, no, there's flash loans. See, this would be a great flash loan transaction.
Yeah.
I've done before, it's great. Well, this is not too late.
Thanks for coming. Yeah. Yeah. How's it going?
That is slippage, yeah. No, that's not slippage. Slippage is like slippage. Like it being like, I'm talking about the difference.
Like this is like when the price changes while you're trying to do the transaction, so you get less than value.
Okay, so how about here, why is it not the same?
It's just different people are selling it, the platform, the price, I mean, like, how much is determined by like the buyer and stuff, like.
Oh.
And then.
I don't know if there's people that market that said, so. How much more different is the price?
Usually, the price is always quickly. Usually like everything's the same, if there's an arbitrage opportunity, people take advantage of it. Sandwich is the same, okay. Listen, no one's gonna let a huge arbitrage opportunity exist for more than like 5 seconds.
What's the for
The right one's called Phoenix dot trade. The left one is Jupiter. Yeah. There's also like aggregators though, that like find the best price for you. They're not an exchange, but they find the best. They route your transactions through, give me multiple exchanges.
Well, I'm just curious, like, how would like, I realize, like, when you into this, like, how's the difference between, like, like, if you're going for crypto coins instead of, like, currency?
Yeah, I mean, Coinbase has their own liquidity, but actually, now Coinbase is a new feature that they genuinely don't use these decentralized exchanges for their, like, verified coins. You can now buy Coin with Coinbase that you want. They use decentralized.
They give two non-stable ones. Price are just gonna fluctuate.
Yeah, it's new because like Coinbase will provide liquidity.
What is, like, I don't know,
If
already a project,
Coinbase.
you can say, like, Ethereum to, like, a Doge. I don't know. Sometimes like no US dollar.
Yeah, that's actually, as long as the
And
exchange thought of it.
You see,
but it's still allowed, it's kind of. So.
Just more efficient.
I don't know, how's it been? I was like, it is, like, I couldn't have like, say, but we don't have a bill.
Like how the blocks are.
Yeah, my, I'm so, I know.
But you have valid.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No,
Retailing stock. A lot of people use it in AWS.
like, I'm sure, analysts, I guess. Yeah, like they,
Yeah.
I honestly don't even know, but like, it's at the headquarters. They have still places.
You have to, if it's pretty.
Talk. I do bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I watched that. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm I watched it.
I guess that's a good story.
Oh, yeah.